Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Misinformation looms in the face of a pandemic that has been politicized and a contentious election on the horizon. USAFacts was founded in 2016 by former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer and is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan civic initiative making government data easy for all Americans to access and understand. The organization provides accessible analysis on U.S. spending and outcomes in order to ground public debates in facts. Joining me to discuss is Poppy MacDonald, president of USAFacts. Poppy, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me back, Jill. I really appreciate it.
And Poppy, we have a big problem in the country with distrust of the media, disregard of science and facts, and people find data points that fit their own agenda. Why should viewers trust USAFacts?
Really appreciate that question. And I think you've hit on a real issue, Jill. There is a huge amount of distrust and misinformation out there right now in the US. And when people are hearing different versions about what's happening in our country, depending on the media channel that they tune into or the candidate that they're hearing from who's running for election, they feel distrustful. And even when we went to Americans through our AP NORC poll last year and asked, what do you rely on for information? 54% said they rely on social media, but only 11% reported trusting that information. So USAFacts saw a real opportunity to bring trusted, nonpartisan, objective data to Americans. We bring Americans their own data. We go to over 70 government sources and compile it in a way that's really easy to use because we fundamentally believe Americans deserve to have a trusted source for facts, and that we will be better off if debates start with agreement on the facts. And we know that people are going to disagree on the right solutions or maybe even the right people to vote for, but we should look to the data to see, are we making a progress as a country or not?
Right, and to help us get through COVID-19 and present those facts, there were two key COVID-19 resources from USAFacts. Give us an overview on that.
Yes, I welcome that opportunity. So when COVID hit, the problem of not having a clear pipeline between local to state to federal when it comes to transparently reporting data in this country really became an issue of health and well-being and safety of the Americans. And so USAFacts mobilized to go county by county to our 3,000 counties in the United States on a daily basis and collect data about the number of cases being reported and deaths. And we wanted to be able to track that for Americans so they could understand, are they healthy? We became the source for the CDC and White House, as well as for-profit and not-for-profit companies who wanted a reliable source of nonpartisan data. We have our COVID tracking and continue to do that on a daily basis. We also launched an Impact and Recovery Hub because we know Americans are not only concerned about the health impact, but also what does this mean for our economy, for people's own personal well-being in terms of the dollars that they're able to earn and the dollars they're able to save. What does it mean for things like air travel and retail spending? And so we've made that information publicly available. We've had over 8 million people visit our site since we launched in March to find these COVID resources, and hope other Americans will come to usafacts.org and access that information, which is updated daily.
Now, USAFacts is deep into the Vote Facts initiative. What does that campaign include? Is it for all races, and is there information on how to vote this year?
Absolutely. So our Vote with Facts initiative is two parts. The first is a voter center. That is a resource at usafacts.org where Americans can come search by their zip code to understand who's running where they live. What are those candidates' positions, whether you're looking at the presidential race, gubernatorial, House, and Senate. What are their positions married alongside with data on how are we actually doing as a country? We have over 16 issues available, so healthcare, immigration, economy. You can go and either search by the issue you care about or the candidates where you're running and understand what is that candidate's position and how does that jive with what the data is telling us about the progress we are or aren't making as a country. And we hope Americans will use that as a resource to decide who are the best people to elect and what are the policies they want to support. And then into the future, how are those numbers changing to really hold elected leaders accountable? And the second part of that is our Change the Story campaign, which is a national advertising campaign that we're launching, aired next to the presidential and vice president debate, which is happening tomorrow. And we want people to be aware that USAFacts exists as a resource. And so we've highlighted real Americans behind some of the key data facing our country.
What other data is available as it relates to the economy and social issues?
Absolutely. So if you come to USAFacts.org, if there's an issue you care about, you're going to be able to find data on that topic. So regarding the economy, we have some new information that was just released by the Census, which really looks at income and poverty in the United States. And for 2019, we see that income is up. So average median household income is up to about $68,703. And it's had a rise among all races. But when you look at some of the discrepancies, there's the highest gap between what Black and white people earn in America, and women are still only making about 82.3% of what men are. There's also information about what that means for 2020. We don't have the 2020 numbers yet, but you can look and see how are household earnings being impacted by COVID. And actually in August, we saw that household earnings are still up about 2% from where they were in January. Some of that is because of the measures that the government has taken to provide supplemental assistance. But as that goes away, what does that mean for Americans looking forward?
And finally, I noticed there's a social media component to the Vote Facts campaign as well. Isn't social media part of the misinformation problem?
Yeah, Jill, that's a really good point. And as I mentioned, Americans, while a majority say they use social media at least daily to understand what's happening, they also distrust it. About 64% say that they don't find that to be a reliable source of information. USA Facts, we certainly have created USAFacts.org to provide that data, but we also don't want to make Americans have to go to another resource to get the facts. So we want to bring facts right to social media. And that is part of the reason that we're going to those platforms and sharing data that is relevant to topics being discussed on that platform. We've also gone to Facebook directly and said, you've got a misinformation problem, we have facts. Is there an opportunity to work together here? We want to make our facts widely available. This data that comes from the government, it's the people's data. The 328 million Americans are paying to collect this data, and it should be accessible. So we really want to work with media, with social media platforms, with anyone who's interested in making these facts available to Americans.
All right, Poppy, always great to hear from you. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate it.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.